Okay, firstly, if you can hear music in the background, I apologize. Harry Styles just playing in my backyard. No respect. Hello fellow book nerds, this is Gabby and today I have May. Was it May? Yeah, it was May. I have May wrap up for you. I know it's a little bit later than I usually do it, but your girl got a new job, your girl went traveling, your girl's having a busy month. So June, we're not doing so great, but May, 15 books. I read 15 books, which is pretty amazing. Definitely my best month this year. So let's talk about the books. There will be some that I'll just like mention and tell you a little bit because I have dedicated videos, but I actually read a lot of outside of my allotted reading. So we have a lot to talk about. Let's kick it off. First up, I read Book of Night by Holly Black, which is Holly Black's adult fantasy debut. This book we follow a bartender who used to be a bounty hunter, but she doesn't do that anymore. But she gets pulled back into the world of kind of bounty hunting, discovering what went wrong, blah blah blah. The magic system is based on shadows, so basically you can like alter your shadow, which will give you kind of special abilities. You can steal shadows. It's like a whole thing. And I was surprised how much I liked this. I gave it 5 stars. I have a whole dedicated review and I go in depth about what I liked, didn't like, that kind of stuff. But I was shocked because Cruel Prince, I read it. I thought it was addicting, but I would never have called it good writing. And this book, I think, had really good writing, really solid characters, really solid plot. I really enjoyed it. I definitely want to continue with book 2. If there is one, they're not sure. Really solid. Go check out my review. Next up, we have Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutanto. So this book is a kind of not murder mystery, like a little cozy mystery thriller, a little cozy thriller, I guess. It's set in contemporary times. The author is Indonesian American, and the character is also Indonesian. And we follow a girl who's a wedding photographer, and she's in business with her mom and her 4 aunties. They each like have a specialty they do at the weddings. And one day, just before a very, very high-profile, important wedding, the main character goes on a date and she accidentally kills her date, and then kind of her and her aunties and her mom have to hide the body. Oh, sorry, it's 3 aunties and a mom, so 4 of them. But they have to hide the body, figure out what to do with the dead guy while they also have a wedding going on. And then there's a subplot or a secondary plot, which is a romance, and it's kind of rekindling of old love. And I really, really liked this book. It was so much fun. Like, the audiobook was well done. It was ridiculous and over the top, but like on purpose. And it really, really beautifully encapsulated like Indonesian culture and being a diaspora and being Indonesian American. All of that was super interesting. I really enjoyed it. It had fun, it had humor, it had tension, it had good romance. Overall, like, it was really, really solid, and I would highly recommend if it sounds at all like up your alley. Like, it is over the top, it is ridiculous, I'm just putting it out there, but ridiculous in all the best ways. And I feel like this would make such a good movie, and I think they might be adapting it, but this might be a lie, I don't remember. It would make such a good like action comedy. Oh my god, it'd be so much fun. I give it 5 stars, and I'm actually reading a sequel right now. Next up, I read Anatomy, a Love Story by Nana Schwartz. So this book I read for my like comparing New York Times bestsellers list, and I talk about 4 books and kind of pit them against each other to see which one deserves to be the New York Times bestseller. I enjoyed this. I did think it was a little underwhelming. Nothing grabbed me about it. Nothing made me feel super passionate or like this was next best thing. It was alright. It was cute. I gave it 3.5. Sorry, so what the book is about. So in this one, it's a historical fiction with like a sprinkle of fantasy, but we follow a woman who's like a rich lady, but she's really fascinated by anatomy, and she wants to be a surgeon and a doctor, but she's not able to do that. So because she's a woman, so she, in order to practice being a doctor, she kind of buys dead bodies from this boy who like is a grave robber basically. And yeah, again, it was okay. Next up, I read A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreight. So this is a thriller novel. I heard about it from Books and Lala because she recently made a video about where she read this book and she thought it was really good. Why am I blanking what this is actually about? A Good Marriage. Right, so it's about this woman who's a lawyer, and she used to be a prosecutor but recently changed her job to be like a lawyer in a law firm. And she gets a phone call from a friend from university saying that they have accused him of killing his wife, or not even, like basically he found his wife dead at the bottom of the stairs, called the police, and the police came and tried to, like, you know, take him from the scene to examine the body, and he like hit a police officer because he was like so distraught. So they take him away, but they put him in prison because on charges of assaulting a police officer. And it's basically this lawyer trying to figure out how to defend him and also kind of whether he even did it. And we go back and forth between different perspectives, like find out more about the wife, find out more about him. I thought it was okay. Nothing about it I found super thrilling or surprising. I kind of just went along with it and it was okay, but I did not particularly feel any strong emotion towards it. I gave it 3 stars. I think it was pretty good. I don't know, it wasn't like that thrilling because it's from like perspective of something that already has happened. And I guess it was a little mysterious, but I don't know. I barely even remember. I don't even remember who did it actually. I barely remember anything. So yeah, 3 stars. It was okay. Next up, I read Queen of the Tiles by Hanna Alkaf. So this is a new release. It's a YA thriller murder mystery, and we follow a girl whose best friend died last year during a Scrabble competition. So they're not sure why, but just her heart kind of gave about and she died. And she was really young, like 16 years old, so it's very strange. But that's kind of in the past. We're now 1 year into the future, and the main character wants to go to this last Scrabble competition to kind of get closure and feel like she can move on with her life. But while she's there starts to appear these like Instagram posts from the dead girl's Instagram saying like, oh, this wasn't like accidental death, like something happened kind of thing. So she tries to discover what happened to her best friend. I enjoyed this. I thought it was pretty solid. It wasn't really like a thriller. Like, it's not like people keep, you know, dying or whatever and you're still like scared for your life. It's more like a mystery with this girl just kind of coming into her own and all of that. But it has Muslim rep and I really enjoyed it. And I thought overall it was pretty well done. At first I wasn't so sure, but as the book went on, I did get more invested. And in the end, I enjoyed it quite a lot. I gave it 4 stars. The audiobook was really well done too. The audiobook was good, but I found that the narrator's voice just sounded like she was 30 years old and she's a kid. So I'm not even 30, like a grandma voice a little bit. I feel so bad because probably this person's not that old, but they sounded very mature. Whereas this character is like 16 or 15 years old, so that just felt a little bit. But yeah, overall, no complaints. 4 stars, really good. Next, I read Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. Can you tell I was on a little thriller kick? I was trying to find one that really would inspire me the way, like, for example, In My Dreams I Hold a Knife did, but I failed. So in this one, we follow a husband and wife whose marriage is not doing so good. So they decide to go on this trip to Scottish mountains because they got like a free trip in a raffle, won a free trip in a raffle, and then weird things start happening and kind of both of them are like, ooh, my husband doesn't know, he's not coming back from here. So it's very like ominous or whatever. I read this author's other book, His and Hers, and I don't remember the actual like plot of it, but I remember thinking it was so good. And this one was just okay. Again, I just feel uninspired having read it. I remember the twists now because it was quite interesting. Again, not that thrilling. It was just kind of like this couple and like something will fall and it was a bit weird. And then we go back to the past and read these letters from the wife, like kind of talking them through their marriage. So it kind of felt a little bit like Gone Girl in the beginning because of those, you know, diary entries being read and that kind of stuff. I give it 3 stars. Bit underwhelming. I think His and Hers was way better, even though I don't remember what it was actually about. But I remember really liking it. And this one, I was just like, it's okay. Next I read Buffy the Vampire Slayer by Jordie Bellaire. So this is like a graphic novel, and it's a modern reimagining of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show. I've never watched Buffy. I mean, I tried. I watched like 2 or 3 episodes of first season, and I was like, this is bad. And everyone says that first season's rough and then it gets really good. So I still want to give it a chance because early 2000s TV is my favorite. And, you know, it's just something so charming about how bizarre and out there it is. I really enjoyed this graphic novel. It was very short, but it was pretty cool, and I was like intrigued by the end, and the drawing styles are amazing. Like, they made the drawings look so much like the actual actors. Like, they did a really good job. It moves really fast. I think it doesn't really feel like its own story. It does feel like they're taking, like, okay, you know the Buffy, you know all the characters, you know their friends. So now we just can get into the adventures, but I feel like they were meant to be really good friends, but that happened so quickly, and you're like, I feel betrayed from this friendship that you had for like a week. I thought it was decent. I gave it 4 stars. I want to read volume 2, but I just feel like it could have slowed down a little bit. Maybe that's just a graphic novel thing, but I don't feel like there was much building of the relationships. Next up I read Tell Me an Ending by Joe Harkin. So this book is, what is it, like a near future kind of sci-fi, or like kind of futuristic with a realistic with a twist. So we have this world where this procedure became available where you can erase your memories. So you can't really like erase a person or a life, but you can erase like a little bit of chunks of your memory. And what people started having is this thing called flashes, I think, where they can they erase the memory. So you can either erase your memory and remember that you erased a memory, might know what it is, but you don't remember it. And then you might erase your memory and literally you're not told that you erased it, and you don't know that you erased the memory. But people who didn't know started to get flashes of these memories like coming back to them. That resulted in a big lawsuit, and now the lawsuit says that the company who does this procedure has to tell everyone who opted not to know that they had their memory erased, to tell them that they had it, and offer to them the possibility of getting it back. So we follow like, I think maybe 5 or something like that main characters, each of them with their own story and kind of how this affects them. I really enjoyed it. I have a whole dedicated review that no one's watched, even though everyone wanted me to make it. I'm joking. No, but if you are interested, if it sounds interesting at all, it was a very interesting read and I would highly recommend it. So please do check out the video. I talk a lot about this book and explain, you know, what I enjoyed. It's all spoiler free, but I ended up giving it 4.5 stars, and I do think it was one of the more interesting reads I read. Yeah, just give me something that I don't usually get, so it was really good. Next up I read Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. So this book is a kind of, again, near sci-fi but apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic, and we're in this world where this virus was released and people infected with this virus turn into these like monsters. And there's this cult where my main character grew up and lives, and this cult is responsible for the plague. It's him trying to survive in this world, kind of explore his identity and connect with other LGBTQ plus youths who are at the same time turning into this like apocalyptic monster. Again, I have a full review if you want to check that out. It was really interesting read, especially for Pride Month. If you're looking from anything from a trans author, I would highly recommend it. It was really good. It was really interesting. It was really gory and disgusting. I think it's YA, but it's like horror, which I don't always get because I feel like sometimes the horror pretends to be horror. But this one was gory horror, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. Again, for a full review, check out the video. And an interesting view of post-apocalyptic world. If anything, I wanted more from it. That's my one criticism. I wanted more, but it did a good job. Next up, I read My Mechanical Romance by Alexene, Farol, Follmuth. And this is, I think, a real name or another pen name of Olivia Blake, who is the author of Atlas 6. So this one is a YA contemporary romance, and we follow 2 teenagers in high school, both part of the robotics society, and they fall in love. And it's really cute. It's not spicy or anything, so, you know, go ahead if you don't enjoy that kind of thing. Like I said, it's YA. But it was so cute. I loved both of the characters. I just felt they had such great chemistry, and like I didn't like the main guy, but then he just really pulled it out of the bag. I really I loved it. I actually read this for Becca's Bookopoly, and I have a whole weekend reading vlog if you want to check that out. But I really loved it. I thought it was super cute. I was like losing my mind. So I would highly recommend it. I gave it 5 stars, and it's gonna be one of my favorite YA romances. Then I read All Systems Red by Martha Wells, which is first book in the Murderbot series. So this is kind of a short story, or novella really. It's a novella about this AR, like, I don't know, this robot, but like a smart robot, an android who gained sentience, and he calls himself Murderbot, and he's on a mission with a bunch of humans and something goes wrong. And I got this from Hanna, so thank you, Hanna. And I read it for the Bookopoly vlog as well, because it was really short. And I really liked it. It was really solid character work, really fun, not adventure, but like, I liked what happened. I'm excited for the continuation of the story. It really makes you care about the character, which I think is important. And I had a really good time with it. I gave it 5 stars as well, and would highly recommend. Then I read Breach of Peace by Daniel B. Greene. So this book is another book I read for Bookopoly. This is Daniel Greene is a fellow booktuber who's like way bigger than me, so probably you know him, but this is his first book he wrote. This book is a short novella again. It's about this inspector called Cleed who finds a mutilated body, like a bunch of them, and they kind of try to figure out what happened. But it was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was well written, it was fast-paced, and it was a really good introduction. I bought already the other book, the second book, which is like a full-length novel, and I'm very excited about that. And I was positively surprised. I didn't know what to expect, but it was really good. Next up, I read Burn Down, Rise Up by Vincent Tirado. So this book is about a contemporary world, but it's set in New York, and we have this teenager who is a lesbian. She has a crush on this other girl who her best friend, male best friend, also has a crush on. The teenagers start going missing, and the main love interest's cousin goes missing, and then the main character's mother gets sick. So it's them trying to figure out what happens. There's like a game, there's tunnels, there's upside down, I guess. It's very interesting. It kind of reminded me of The Diviners a little bit. Not really with anything that happens per se, but just the vibe of the first book. And this one's set, like I said, it's contemporary, it's not 1920s, but it's just the vibe. I don't know, like kind of the concept of it. Kind of reminded me of that, but it was really cool. Not has superpowers as far as I'm aware, but I really enjoyed this book. It was really well written, and the relationship was really good. The world was interesting, and I had a good time with it overall, so I would recommend. I give it 4 stars, and I think the author is non-binary or something, so again, perfect for Pride. Next up, I read You Made a Fool Out of Death with Your Beauty by Akwaeke and Emezi. So this book is a adult contemporary about a woman whose husband died in an accident a couple of years back, and she is trying to move on and kind of find her life again. And she meets this guy who really likes her, and he kind of offers to help her in terms of like giving her a space at this art show that his father's throwing, and she goes to this island with him, and then a very inappropriate feelings start arising for someone else. I have a full review if you want to check it out. It was really interesting. For some reason, I thought it was a bloody thriller, and I thought it was alone, and people in the comments of that video said they thought it was a thriller too, so I wasn't as alone as I thought I was. It was about questionable love, maybe questionable circumstances, and difficult position and relationships, and kind of taking care of yourself and giving yourself something after you've given a lot to others. It was good. I gave it 4 stars, and I would recommend it. The last book I read that month was Do You Dream of Terra-Two by Temi. So this book is a sci-fi novel. It's kind of a light sci-fi, so we follow a group of teenagers who have been training their whole lives to go to this place called Terra-Two. So we found another planet in our system that has like these perfect conditions, just like Earth, to live on. And this Terra-Two, there's going to be a first mission to try to colonize it. And these teenagers have been training since they were like 13 years old. Now they're like 19 or something, and it's time to go, and I think 6 of them are chosen, and it's about their journey on the spaceship, trying to get to Terra-Two. And like the blurb says it's like Becky Chambers meets the 100. Not really. I've never read anything but Becky Chambers. I have watched some of the 100, and this is nothing like it. This is a slow, pondering story about human existence, the human condition, what it means to be a human, what it means to be confined in this small space for such a long time, how each of them deals with it, how they bring their baggage onto it. It's a slow, thoughtful story rather than an action piece. So I don't really see the 100. Like, they're not even stuck on a spaceship in 100. They're on a planet. So I don't know. I didn't get the 100 vibes. So if you're basing it off that, I would not recommend. But I would recommend if what I said sounds good, because it was such an interesting, fascinating, slow, beautiful, heartbreaking story that you're just like, huh? And I need to read more books like this. It was so good. Maybe I should check out Becky Chambers. But this was so good and rich and just made you think and made you pause. I don't know. I really liked it. I gave it 5 stars, and I would highly recommend if you're a fan of sci-fi. Well, those are the books I read in May. I feel like I've been talking for a while. Let me know, have you read any of these? What did you read? What was your favorite book you read? What was my favorite book I read? I maybe Do You Dream of the Terra-Two or Book of Night were my faves. But the LA Frontiers was really funny, and like I said, I picked up the sequel really quickly, which is not like me at all. But let me know what's your favorite book you read in May. Sorry this is so late. Hopefully I can get it up on Monday. We'll see. I've got work and shit, and I need to finish Aurora Burning for today's live show. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, if you'd comment, like, and subscribe, I really appreciate it. It really helps me out. But that's it for me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!